So Megyn, I want to close here. We had a great conversation with some of our Turning Point USA students earlier, and you were really moved by this idea of, toxic masculinity and how it's spread on campuses. And this is kind of in play right now because of the discussion around Andrew Tate. And I don't want to talk about Andrew Tate because, I think he says some smart stuff, but there's a lot there that is, obviously very controversial. But, Megyn, you're a mom to 2 boys.
Yep, and a girl.
And a girl. Just talk about the state of men in America.
Well, that discussion was terrifying because these young women were saying they would like to find an alpha male. They would like to find somebody who's not prancing around the college campus with a man bun. And it's getting harder and harder. And his mandals, not hot. All right? I think I speak for most ladies when I say no. It's a no. So I'm worried. My boys are not going to be like that, but I'm actually worried more for my daughter than I am for my boys. Our girls need to find good men who are strong, men who are leaders, men who are not afraid to lean into being the protector and the brave one when the situation calls for it, with whom to reproduce and make the next generation. It's fine to encourage men to be more open about their feelings. That, in the way that Jordan Peterson encourages. I think that's great. I think men should be honest if they're feeling blue or depressed. Men have, unfortunately, a very high suicide rate, and unlike women, men accomplish it the first time they try. So it's important that young men on college campuses in particular find a way to talk about how they're feeling, especially if they're not feeling well or happy or, all the things. However, that doesn't mean that they need to get closer and closer to being a woman. It doesn't mean you have to abandon, when my husband and I walk down the street, he makes sure I'm on the inside, right? He's on the outside of the traffic. The little things. If somebody gets in my face, some guy got in my face a few years ago, my husband was right between us, threatening him. I like that. It's not that I can't handle myself. Trust me, I can. It's that I still want a man who wants to do that for me. And I think most women are like that. And not just that, we want our kids to see that so they can model it. So
Megyn, we only have a couple minutes here, but do you think there's an agenda to let's feminize men? And if so, what would be behind that?
Well, I think on the left, truly, this is a lefty problem. I don't think conservatives are dealing with this as much.
No, we don't have a big problem.
Right.
No.
So I think lefties, like the women, they talk a lot about Me Too, and they talk about toxic masculinity, and now there's a cohort of men that thinks they're toxically masculine, and that's somehow bad if they're doing their normal man things. But we need that sort of bold-chested, brave man, which is the instinct of most men in everyday life, in the military, in the police force. We could go down the list. I do not want a Brooklyn Starbucks sipping pinky out guy going over and fighting for us overseas, or God forbid, the Chinese and we strike it up. That's not the army I want. I don't want any more woke military commercials. I don't want any woke police. I want manly men and gruff women out there doing that job.
And you think about who's celebrated. It's Dylan Mulvaney.
Trigger.
Trigger. So yeah, you got it. 90 seconds, Megyn. Dylan Mulvaney, American icon.
Oh my God. Dylan Mulvaney makes a mockery of women. He's mocking us and getting paid for it. This person, I don't believe Dylan's transition. I think Dylan is an actor who finally found a way to make the cash he'd been trying to make and failing to when living as a gay man. So Dylan was first a gay man, and then he said he was non-binary, and then he said it was a little girl, then he said he was a woman, now he said he's a lesbian, now he says he wants to get impregnated by a man. I don't understand how that's going to work because he's a man, and we're supposed to go along for this ride and be respectful. No. I'm not respectful of him. He's not respectful of me, my daughter, all of you ladies who are out there. So it's a no for any company that endorses him, partners with him, and for him.
Megyn Kelly, everybody.